it was so unbelievable that I had John, who is our main presenter tonight, John come and speak at my Supersite Live presentation on the third day, and nobody wanted it to end. I mean, the stuff that he showed people just blew them away. And I felt that this was so important that normally when people do a webinar and they present someone else's material, they say, you know what, they do it as an affiliate. They make money on the webinar. But this one was so important that I said, heck, I just want you to present this to my folks. I don't want a penny out of this. This is too freaking important to be a money-making opportunity. I just have to share this with my folks. Now, I've known John probably for 2 or 3 years. He is one of the shrewdest guys online. John, how much money have you spent on Facebook advertising?
Spent. There was, gosh, I mean, probably...
What people you trained, what's the total number of your Facebook spend?
I think the number of revenue is closer to $40 million, and I don't know that includes all the people. Yeah, so $40 million, and we try to spend $1 to make $2. So, you know, a lot of millions. We've spent a lot of millions on Facebook, for sure.
Okay, but your revenue was $40 million.
Correct.
How many people on the line here think it's worth listening to somebody who's generated $40 million from Facebook? Scott says yes. Only one person? We can hang up and just be on with it. Okay, Robert says hell yes. Yes, I do. Lou is yes. Kai says it's amazing. Yes. I'll listen all night. Yes. You bet. Okay. Lee says I do. Brian says you bet. Brian, what are you doing on this call? Oh yeah, that's a big 10-4. So I'm not going to talk for much long, but I've got to say this. If you leave this call, first of all, I'm surprised at the amount of material that John is going to give away. If you leave this call for any reason other than having a heart attack or a stroke, you are seriously brain dead. This is going to be a life changer of a call. Now, I'm going to shut up and I'm going to turn things over to my good friend, John Tarr. John, take it away.
All right, awesome, Harlan. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. And thanks, everybody, for being on the webinar tonight. I know we're all busy and you have other things you could be doing, and you decided to join us. And so we're going to try to make it worth your while and give you some really good information, give you some things to think about, and in addition, entertain you a little bit. So hopefully you'll have a good time on this as well. So thank you. I'm not going to talk too much about me, although what Harlan said was flattering. My son is 1 year old. By the time I have grandkids, that number I'm sure will go up. That 40 million will turn into 300 million when I'm telling the old legendary stories. So it probably goes up every year. But I've done a lot of advertising, and I've been around the IM space for quite a bit. And paid traffic is what I'm pretty good at. And the guys you're going to meet tonight that are on the webinar with me, and it's really their program, so I'm excited to get them involved. I'm going to introduce them in just a little bit, but the guys that you're going to meet, they basically, they're killers out there. They've taken strategies that my business partner Kyle and I have taught them, and have really ramped them up. They're probably better than we are. They're certainly really good at what they're doing now, and I think you're really going to enjoy it because they're just amazing, and they're good dudes too. So you're going to have a really good time tonight. I don't know that Kyle, he'll end up being on the webinar sometime tonight, so you'll hear from my business partner, Kyle.
I'm here, bro. I'm here.
All right. So Kyle is on. So welcome, Kyle. And yeah, you bet, man. And I'm going to introduce Casey and Michael in just a little bit, and then they're going to take it away and tell you kind of what this is all about. But I called this, the short story long here is that, so Casey and Michael, we knew them because they had ran some traffic for some different products. They basically bought out a company that we had, and then they proceeded to go and crush what Kyle and I were doing with that company, and making a few $100,000 a month doing affiliate products. And we're close with them and we're friends, and we were talking with them on the phone one day, and they were telling me about what they were doing now and telling Kyle and I about what they were doing now, and we're like, man, this is online heaven. Like, this is unbelievable. This is the best business model that I've seen for years, and we were excited to help them bring that out to people that we think could use it, that really want an online business model that works, that can talk about and do things that no other business model can. It's like the LeBron James of online business models. So this is what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to talk about an overview of some current online business models and some of the problems that they present for you. And we're going to talk about that in relation to how that affects you. So we're going to cover that. Then we're going to tell you about this new model. It's, in my opinion, the absolute best internet business model that I've seen. And that's saying something because I've seen a lot of them. I think it's just amazing. So we're going to talk about that. We'll tell you why it's better. I've got a great analogy coming up about owning your own television station or radio station, and why I think this is even better than that. I'll introduce Casey and Michael. They're the men behind the model. Just amazing. And once they start dropping their knowledge, they're gonna overwhelm you guys with their knowledge. They're really good at this stuff. You're gonna enjoy them. I'll tell you how they got started a little bit more in depth. We're going to share their results and tell you what they're doing in their business. And, of course, their results are not typical. And, I don't need to go into all the FTC things. A lot of people don't make money online and things like that. I mean, that's definitely true. And they're no different. They're exceptional at what they do. But they've got a path that works, and that makes other people exceptional. And so we're going to share some results from students that are currently in the program that we've had going for about 4 or 5 weeks now. We've had this program going, and people are seeing a lot of success. People that had no success marketing online before. And so we're going to share those kind of results with you too, so you get to see what other people are doing besides Casey and Michael. So stay tuned for all that. It's going to be awesome. And at the very end, we're going to talk about an opportunity that you have to talk about working with us at the end of the presentation. So we'll chat about that. But the presentation is primarily information. So it's about 95% information with a little bitty pitch at the end, and you can stay on for that. But one thing that I always want, and anybody who's heard me speak or been on a webinar presentation that I've been a part of with Kyle, we really want you to have paradigm shifts tonight. We want you to change the way you think about some things in the online marketing hiring world and what you've been doing, and maybe can solve some of the problems for you, why you haven't been successful online and what you can do to be successful online. So, stay tuned for that. I think you're really going to enjoy it. And Kyle, let's talk about some online business models, man. Let's talk about affiliate marketing.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's give me the good, the bad, and the ugly with affiliate marketing. Because I'm sure a lot of people, if they don't have a product, that's where they start. That's where you and I started. That's where Casey and Michael started. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so you get into online marketing, and one of the first things you're going to have to do, like John said, is probably become an affiliate, because you're not going to have your own product. You're not going to have all these other things that we'll talk about in a few minutes later when we get to some of these other business models. But since you don't have any of that, you're going to really start at the beginning with affiliate marketing. So one of the, I guess, several of the problems you run into there are, one, it's not your product. You're selling somebody else's product. So you can't control upsells, you can't control downsells, exit pops. Like you lose a lot of the control. You don't get the name, so you can't put them on an email list and resell them very often. I mean, you can do it with lead pages, but that's a whole other ballgame. So you don't control the product. You're competing with other affiliates running probably the same exact ads and offers in the same exact spots as them. And so it becomes very difficult because the market gets saturated with the good offers. And so you're stuck battling out with other guys that can probably pay more and maybe need a little less margin. And so it's just really difficult to get involved in that. And it gets harder by the day. John and I were talking probably a week ago, and we were saying if we didn't get started when we did, it would probably be impossible for us to get started in the affiliate marketing business now, just because it's gotten so much more difficult to enter that market.
Yeah, and I think the word of the day, boys and girls, is variables. And so we're going to talk a lot about variables tonight and what an impact they make in your online business. And so with affiliate marketing, it's no different. You've got to have a good offer. You've got to run on a traffic platform. That traffic platform needs to approve what you want to run. And that's where a lot of affiliates, a lot of the Facebooks and the Googles, they don't want to run the offers that will actually convert. And so it becomes problematic. So that's affiliate marketing. Then you've got, let's say you're a product owner and you've got an info product. And so like a ClickBank type of offer. And this can work both ways. You can be an affiliate or you can be a product owner. Here's the thing about this that people don't understand. It takes hundreds of thousands of dollars to get this kind of offer off the ground, because you have to have a great offer, which means a great hook and great copy. So like Harlan writes amazing copy. He's a world-renowned copywriter, and he's damn expensive. So if you're going to hire Harlan, which we have, to write our copy, you're going to pay a lot of money for it because he's very, very good. And he can make or break your offer because of his good copy, but that's a variable. Then you have to have a really good funnel. Then you have to have merchant accounts. You have to have customer service. You have to have all these things that go into having this product. And then on top of all that, you got to test it because it may not work the first time. So by the time you get into paying Harlan, paying your funnel guy, paying your traffic guy, testing it, I mean, you're hundreds of thousands of dollars into that kind of model. And it's lucrative like other models, but there's a lot of variables. And especially today, it's harder than ever to sell information. People are used to the 30-minute, 35-minute VSLs. They don't want to sit through them. They click off of them. And so it becomes very, very challenging of trying to figure out new ways to sell this stuff. And Kyle, talking about Amazon.
Yeah,
because that's everybody's darling.
Yeah, I'm sure if you're on anybody's list, you've seen Amazon Selling Machine and what that does. A couple problems with Amazon. Again, you've got a zillion competitors because everybody can drop ship. Some of the other problems you're going to have is you don't get to keep the customer info. You can't collect leads. You can't resell them anything later on down the road. It's not your platform, so you don't control things like upsells, downsells. Where in some of the affiliate marketing stuff and info marketing, one of the greatest assets you have is the ability to have upsells, like one-click upsell or something. But you lose all that ability in Amazon, and so there's, like this says, it's not a business. You're just playing some arbitrage game, and hopefully at the end of the day, you're making a little more than in the margins than what it's costing you to keep your site up and the drop shipping fees and everything else. So that becomes a hard battle, and there's no business there. You're just playing a little bit of arbitrage.
Yeah, and one of the things about Amazon too that it's all about pushing people to reviews and pushing those high up. And a lot of times when I see the businesses that I consulted with where their primary revenue source is Amazon stuff, it's a race to the bottom on price. And you never want to be in a race to the bottom. That's just a disaster to be in that kind of situation. So on top of the fact that Amazon, like all these other platforms, is always changing, and so it can be very difficult to keep up with. And that includes things like Teespring, which again brings with it a whole set of problems because you're going to be a good T-shirt designer. You got copyright issues if you're selling, Denver Broncos. I'm a Denver Broncos Peyton Manning fan. You can't sell Denver Broncos stuff, and if you do, you're going to face copyright issues. You've got Facebook account problems with Teespring. So all of these models have their own unique set of challenges, as most models do. But Kyle, do you have anything to add about Teespring and what a disaster that can be?
Well, and there's no real length or continuity there. I mean, you might have a T-shirt, and if you don't get enough sales, the rest of the people that ordered get their money back, and they don't get their T-shirt because you didn't meet the minimum quota. And there's all sorts of problems there. A lot like Amazon.
None of these are really a set it and forget it type of system. They're all kind of a hustle. I mean, you wake up in the affiliate marketing space, in the Amazon space, Teespring, not so much with the info marketing, but with the other three, you wake up unemployed every day. So if you're not killing it and dragging it home on a Teespring, if you don't have a killer shirt, you're not getting paid. So, I think that's one thing that when you see what this model is all about, what these guys have done, they've got more of a turnkey type of system that I think is really, really exciting. But one of the things, Kyle, what's the one thing that all these models have in common?
Gazillion variables.
Yeah, and those variables are a result of you have to sell something to get paid.
Yeah.
And so anytime you have to sell something to get paid, you're adding a lot of variables. And that, like I say, that's the word of the evening is variables. So, for instance, think about this for a second. Big companies are big for a reason. And one of the reasons that they can get really, really big is they have a simple system that they can duplicate over and over and over and over again. Simple system over and over and over and over again. They get big. Why? Because they eliminate the variables. And so you can't do that in a lot of these programs because the variables go on and on ad nauseum. We're going to talk about that more in just a second. But one of the big things is you have to sell something. And when you're trying to sell somebody something, it can become problematic on what's the right message, what's the right target audience, and all these different things. What's the right product to go with the target audience? So I want to welcome you to Online Heaven. And this is what I've been telling you. It's true. It's so true. Like, you guys, it's going to blow your mind when we show you exactly what this is all about. And when you hear Michael and Casey talk, I'm building it up. You know how, like, on the sitcoms, those guys are always, like, the next people to enter, right?
Yeah.
So they're going to come in here in just a second. But Online Heaven is getting paid when a visitor comes to your site without the need of selling anything. That is Online Heaven. And so you're not going to have to deal with Facebook. You're not going to have to deal with publishers' bans. Kyle, talk about what a nightmare Facebook is for not only affiliates, but coaches and anybody trying to advertise on Facebook right now.
Yeah, okay, first of all, for affiliates, it's almost impossible to try and run anything there for any length of time. And it's gotten so bad now that even, like, he's talking about coaches, we have friends, we have clients that are coaches, they're just running an offer to fill out a strategy session form or an email opt-in, and those guys are getting accounts shut down, and they have no idea why, and they're not violating any terms of service. It's just Facebook being Facebook. So, if you haven't been banned on Facebook, you're not advertising on Facebook.
It's really challenging right now to advertise on Facebook, and they're really the most cost-effective and highest quality traffic source out there right now for those other models that we talked about. Our guys, Casey and Michael, they don't even use Facebook. So you're not going to have to worry about Facebook and not going to have to worry about dealing with the Facebook account bans and things like that. And the other thing that I love about their system, which makes it Project Heaven for me, I'm a true entrepreneur is what I tell people. And I said this at Harlan's event. I'm a true entrepreneur. And what that means is I'm not good at doing anything. Like, I'm really not. The only thing I'm really good at is finding other people that are good at stuff and leveraging those people.
John?
Really, yes.
John, you know what this is like? This is like a strip tease, and you're not even taking off your socks.
Right?
Let's show them something so you blow them away.
Okay, man. So let's do this. So let's introduce these guys and their proof. Okay. So how about this? Here are Casey and Michael's numbers.
Go back one slide. Not that one. Next one.
Yep.
Okay. Here, right there. Someone joined the program right at the time of my seminar. Okay? It is 3 weeks later, and this guy is doing $3,000 a day. Okay? $3,000 a day. How many people would want to be making $3,000 a day in 3 weeks?
Let me ask you this, Harlan, because one of the things that I was trying to drive home there while those guys are talking about $3,000 a day is, you know, you've been around this industry for a long time, and if you're new, or even if you're not new, but you're shifting models, there are so many variables that come into play in a lot of models. It makes it almost impossible for people to really succeed immediately online without going through like a hellacious learning curve and setting a lot of money on fire. Would you agree with that?
This is just follow, and I said it to someone in the group was today, this is the exact same thing I told someone in the group, is just follow the damn plan. It's so easy. It's so easy. Just follow the plan. Don't improve on it. Don't change it. Don't do anything other than they say, and this will work.
Awesome. So let's introduce
Brian, who's in it and listening to this anyway, just typed in, it's easy peasy.
Yeah, it really is. It's crazy. And so maybe I went a little overboard on trying to illustrate that, how hard other stuff is, but that's why this is so awesome.
I'm going to shut up and turn it back over.
Okay, cool. Because, yeah, it's just like, I'm glad that you came in, and I'm glad that we got to hammer that point home with just how simplistic this can be. So I'm going to introduce Casey and Michael. Casey Curtis and Michael Wilkins are the guys behind this model. And let's talk about them. And they're going to get into exactly what they do, how they do it. But I want you guys to get to know these guys. So Casey, Michael, say hey.
Hey. Hey, what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing?
Live from San Diego.
Did somebody give Casey a bunch of caffeine?
Dude, I'm very tired of listening to John. I get excited.
Yeah, well, keep in mind, you guys, if you have your computers on, you'll get some feedback if you both got them on. So Kyle and I used to have to do webinars, one in the bathroom and one in the living room. So just an FYI. Yeah, you get by the way. But now let's get a hotel room. Yeah. So Casey, talk about basically give us a background of who you guys are and how you got started online. Like, what did you do? What's your background?
Yeah, I think you touched on it briefly. Michael and I partnered up about 3 years ago when we were introduced to the affiliate game. We were taught by John and Kyle, yourselves, and we went deep into Facebook, and things were going really well. We were partnered up with some product owners, and we were selling their offers, but then we started running into the big issue of our Facebook accounts getting shut down. And we did really well for 2 years, and that's when all our accounts started getting shut down. We got really frustrated, and that's when we took a hard look at kind of what the shortcomings were with our business model and how we could change our business model to make sure that we were profitable every single day going into the future and ultimately build a company that we could sell for hundreds of millions of dollars. And that's where we kind of came up with this model through a lot of market research. And yeah, it's working really well now. We are profitable every single day, and the scalability of this model is enormous. So we're excited to see what numbers we can hit starting next year.
Cool. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you expand a little bit on that, and then we're going to take people to like an example site, and we're going to take them through your model, like basically what you do in relation to those earnings that we showed up here. I'll show those again. So how did you guys get started with this particular model? How long, I mean, I know you were looking for something that was a little bit more scalable, but it didn't start well, right? I mean, it basically, it took you a long time to crack the code on this.
Yeah, the idea behind it's very simple, but it took about a year of testing to get there. Basically, we knew we wanted to get off of Facebook, so we didn't want to have to rely on Facebook accounts every single day. So we were going to different ad networks, some of the biggest ones out there, and we were clicking on their ads and seeing what sort of articles or products were spending the most. And then we use a tool called AdBeat to do some research to find out kind of which companies were performing the best. So we just did a lot of competitive research in order to kind of find this model that we're going to tell you about.
So what is the model? What exactly are you guys doing?
The model is super simple. All you do is you set up a content website. A lot of people listening probably have their own blog or website. And
I put one up here.
You throw a few ads up there and you turn it into a slideshow, and then you just pay to get traffic to that slideshow, and the goal is to make more off the ads on your site than it costs to get people to your website. And it's as simple as that. What we help out with is the exact layout you need and the right ad networks to put on your website and how to drive traffic and where to buy the traffic. And it's something that we're actually very surprised at how fast our students are already doubling and tripling their money every single day, day after day. They figured it out. And I think one student started making money in less than a week, and now we have multiple students making money every day.
That's awesome. So walk everybody through this with me. So I've got this Your Daily Dish. It's a content site, much like what you talk about. One thing to keep in mind, everybody, is Facebook a few years ago, they started these newsfeed ads, which you guys are all familiar with. And those newsfeed ads would show up, they were basically mobile ads. And so Facebook really spawned this native ad craze that is going on right now. And now you have all these companies that are out there that push native ads to phones and to different mobile devices. And of course, they're on desktop too. That's what I'm on. But guys, talk about how that has really changed the game, because your model is ad arbitrage. So you send a visitor to your site, then they click on an ad and you get paid. But now with the native platforms, that's kind of changed everything.
Yeah, it makes it great because a lot of times when they go to our site, the content is surrounded by these native ads, and they don't even know they're native ads, so they'll click, something below the article, and it's another recommended article to somebody else's site, but they're paying us. So there's a ton of traffic getting exchanged in between these different websites with this sort of arbitrage slideshow layout.
Let me point out a couple of things. If you guys are seeing this screen, you've got an article here, Baywatch Stars, what they look like. It's a slideshow article, and I'm going to let Casey and Michael get into those a little bit more in depth for you, because that's one of their secret sauce things that you're going to get. But you can see here, there's an advertisement here that is pushed through. Over here on the right side are all advertisements, and then you have your slideshow here. So there's advertisements all over this, and then there's more advertisements down here, and of course an opportunity to share the story and start the slideshow, more ads, additional ads down here from another native company. So I think everybody is getting the gist of there's ads all over these sites. And Casey, correct me if I'm wrong, but you got the slideshow. We'll talk about that in a second on this page. But it's designed to just continue to perpetually click, right? I mean, because you got celebs you didn't know passed away, Star Wars characters. I mean, all of these kind of things are designed to keep you on the site and keep you clicking, which generates revenue.
Yeah, exactly. So the whole idea is you want to send people to slideshow because a lot of those ad networks pay on every impression. So if you have them in a slideshow and they're viewing 10 to 15 of your slides, then you get paid on each of those 10 to 15 impressions. And if go ahead.
No, go ahead, my friend. Sorry.
I was just saying, yeah, so the more ads you have up there, as long as they're well placed and high quality, you're going to get a high CPM, which is what you get paid on every impression.
Okay, so let's give them an example of this. And so let me begin the slideshow here so that everybody can see what Casey's talking about. And so now see, these ads over here changed. This ad up top changed. This is what Casey's talking about. So the ads on this page have changed. And then you're going to go and click through. And then again, they change. And Casey, so now it's join me. Now you have these other ads to the side. In case you have companies that pay you per impression. And one of the ways to get more impressions is to have this slideshow because people are clicking through.
Exactly, yeah, it's simple as that.
Does everybody understand that? Type yes if you understand that.
Simple is good.
Yeah.
So, cool. So Casey, what's that, buddy?
You can't see the text because you're a presenter, not an organizer.
Yeah, okay, no worries. But we've got some yeses?
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume, you know, like when I asked my wife to marry me, I never asked a question, and I don't think I'm going to get a yes to,
Right.
but you made me nervous there for a second.
Because I was like, I heard the silence, and I was like, oh, he can't see us.
Yeah, right. So, okay, cool. So, anything to add on the slideshow? How did you guys figure out the slideshow aspect of it? Because I think that's one of your like secret sauce ninja things that you talk about. How did you figure that out?
Just took a lot of time and testing and dedication to it, really. There's just a million different things you can do on the page, and so finding the one that works, like you said, is the secret sauce. It took a lot of time and work, but now that we have it, you know, training will show you exactly what that is and how to do it.
I think John actually talked about this earlier. How long did it take you guys from when you started till right now? How far into this process are you?
Yeah, I mean, conceptually, it's probably been about a year and a half, but really, it took us a good year of testing before we figured out exactly how to get it to work to our standards and you know, continue to scale it up from there.
Like you said, how many guys, hold on. How many guys understand what they're talking about with ad arbitrage? How many people understand what that means? Type it in if you understand. Just want to make sure you got it. You understand? I understand basics. Not me, says Dennis. Bye, says not me. Tom says bye, low, sell high. Another one, don't have it. Kind of. Explain it again. Okay. Sites like the Daily Dish, they have content. Typically, they curate content that they find elsewhere. Like the slide that you see in front of you, the Matt Brody, David Sharbutt, and you see the before and after pictures. People love these slideshows. They spend a lot of time on these slideshows. In many cases, they will click all the way through the slideshow. Every time they click, they are seeing a bunch of different ads that are just calling out to them saying, click me, please click me. And experience shows that they do, to the tune of thousands of dollars a day. So you do not get paid by individuals, you get paid by these ad companies. So the one that's on the top, the one that says right now, you look at it and it says, join me, show work, who's boss, that's a Google AdSense ad. And you can make hundreds or thousands of dollars a day. Is this legal? Well, Kyle and AC got a call from Google saying, we like that we're paying you so much. We want to show you how to make even more money. So this is 100% above board, and there are huge sites that are doing this, including Viral Nova, which was recently sold after only 18 months in existence, using the exact same formula that you are being shown tonight. It was sold for $100 million after only being, is it correct, or am I low on that?
So no, that's right. It was 2 years it was in existence, and then it was sold.
18 months old, and the site was sold for $100 million, and his revenue was guesstimated at somewhere between $500,000 and $800,000 a month, doing exactly what you see here. So take this seriously, folks, because this is a proven model, and there are a lot of people doing it, but it's not a closed market. Anyone can get into it, and as they've seen with experience, anybody can start making money really quickly. All right, back to you guys.
Cool. And so let's chat about that, guys, because I think what people wonder about is, what are the things that you really have to do to make this thing sing and to make it go? Talk about the slideshow. One of the things I like about this is that you don't have to, you guys aren't writing these slideshows. You're outsourcing most of this stuff that you do. So where do you get your content for your site? I mean, you're not sitting down and writing this yourself, right?
Correct, yeah. So we have a process. We do some research through AdBeat to kind of find what's working the most on some of our competitor sites, and then we scrape some websites like Reddit for viral content, and we just do some research online.
Buy all the clicks that are out there, and so this is no different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's no way you could buy all the traffic out there.
Okay, awesome. So that for Dennis is ad arbitrage. You're spending $10 to drive traffic to your site, and you want to make $15 to do that. The beautiful thing about this is there's nothing to sell, so it's all about getting people to stay on your site and to click on the ads, which these guys have perfected, which I think is awesome. So, guys, I want to talk a little bit more about the content site. You don't have to get too in-depth into this, but your site has to be set up the right way. And tell us a little bit about that. Like, what's that all about?
Yeah, so we go into that into the training. So it's got to be a really good, user-friendly slideshow, and then we recommend you make the most money off of your AdSense placements. So we recommend putting one AdSense ad, above and below the slideshow, and then one in the right rail, and then there's a certain recommended content network that is also good in the right rail and below the article. And this took about a year of testing in order to get the right layout, and we recommend driving on certain device types. So it's better on either desktop, tablet, or mobile, and we'll give you the layout types for all three devices.
Yeah, let me break that down a little bit more too. Here's the problem: Casey and Michael are way too smart, and so let me dumb it down for me. So because this is and John specifically. So what they're saying is there are where the ads are placed on the website is important, as is the networks that you're running ads for. So like Harlan mentioned on the Daily Dish, there was a Google ad at the top. That's important. There's also, knowing which content sites to run on the right-hand side, the right rail, like Casey mentioned, that means the right-hand side, or what networks to run the ads on from the bottom, like below your slideshow. So having that whole system and kind of like a map as to where what ad goes where and from what network is what they spent a year and a half trying to develop. And so that's one of the things that they pass on and give to the students when they get in there. So that's what speeds up the whole learning curve for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's true because, you basically have to know what ads you want people to click on, and you have to know where to get the traffic the least expensive so that you can make the difference. Guys, talk about, you got to have content people want to read. That's where the slideshow comes in, and that's where the article research comes in, where you guys find what articles people want to read. I mean, it's not that hard to do that, right? I mean, what's that process like in a simpleton kind of way?
Yeah, sure. We do a lot of research via tools that are provided and very well laid out in the training that will basically allow you to search out that content that people are really engaging with and essentially rewrite it or repurpose it to be used on your own site.
So you don't have to be a content curator or, ninja kind of stealth, wow, I found this great content. It's pretty much out there for the world to see.
Exactly. Yeah, it's out there for grabbing.
You can be a ninja. You can be an actual ninja and still do this. So exclude the ninjas out there.
That's correct.
If you write, I think that if you write, I know Harlan does a lot of writing stuff on his team, and I think that can be helpful, but you don't have to be a great writer. That's not a prerequisite to make this work. So I think that that's one thing I wanted to add, because, you don't have to sit down and start knocking out blog posts, which is what I think a lot of people think. So wanted to point that out. And then tell me, you got to know where to get the traffic from. And you guys obviously know where to get the traffic from. And tell us, how long did it take you to figure out those sources for traffic?
Yeah, that's another really important variable in this model. A lot of people go after the ad arbitrage model and they think, okay, where's the cheapest place I can buy traffic? And so they look for, anywhere they can get penny clicks. But really what's important is how quality that traffic is. And we find buying through ad networks, some of the top recommended content networks like Taboola and Outbrain, they have some of the best traffic because you're pulling from their websites like MSN and ESPN. So all of our traffic comes from these huge big name publishers, and since people bounce off their site and go to ours, it makes our site look like it's one of the top in the U.S. And so they trust our brand, and then they engage more, and it's just high quality traffic source. So we kind of go into detail into what is the best traffic source is the ad networks, and how exactly to buy from them, how to set up your campaigns and everything.
Yeah, that's cool. So what do you have to be good at in order to do this? So if somebody's at home, whether they're new or whether they've been doing it, because we have both types of people that are taking the training, what should you be good at?
To be blunt, following directions.
Right.
We try to basically deliver all of the trainings in the easiest to understand way possible, to make it pretty simple. And I think Harlan touched on this earlier, you literally just follow it. You don't have to think outside the box. Everything's right there for you. That's about it. You don't even have to be able to set up a website, right? Because we set up the website for you with the recommended layout. So, I mean, you really just got to be able to follow directions, and anyone can figure it out. I mean, we're surprised at how many people are already having tremendous success with it. Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that because Harlan and I were talking about this earlier, which basically you guys have put all this money into researching and testing this model and doing it, what it is that you do, right? Making all of these variables stagnant. What did it cost you to do that? I mean, besides time, right? Besides the 12 or 18 months, depending on when you want to put a concrete date on when you started it, what did it cost you in money to get this thing dialed in like you have it?
Yeah, we probably invested around $200,000 into the website development and the testing. So testing traffic from a lot of different ad networks or traffic sources, and then changing our website continually to test different layouts. And so we probably put a couple $100,000 into it, and we made, a good chunk of that money back just from the ad placements while we were testing it. So we were, before we really figured it out, we were probably maybe $20,000 in the hole after putting in a couple $100,000 in about 12 months. Yeah, just piggybacking off what Casey just mentioned, and all the money we spent testing and then recouping some of that. The cool thing about this training and the way we lay it out is the likelihood of you losing money on your initial investment in testing is pretty low. We have it designed in a way that as long as you follow the training, you'll either basically make back, and I can't make any promises, but most likely you'll make back at least the money that you put into it to the test, or you'll make back more in profit, which is really great. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, well, I guess what Harlan and I were talking about is you guys already made all the mistakes. So all the grief and the heartache to figure this out has already been done. So what it took you guys, 18 months to do, the students are coming in and being able to replicate that success in 3 weeks because you've already gone through that path. So all you have to do is follow the path, and people are going to be successful. I mean, there's probably no way around it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So let's let some people, there's always a question people have, and then we'll let people ask their questions to you guys because they're going to have some. I want to talk a little bit about some student results here. I put these up there. A lot of times you'll see trainings and guys will get really good results. I mean, Harlan's a great copywriter. That doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to be a good copywriter if I get in his training. But you guys have set the path up for your people. I've never seen anything like it, the people getting the results that are coming in, which makes me look great since a lot of them I know. But, one guy is basically tripling his money daily after just few weeks, 3 weeks or so in training. Another student's making upwards of $1,000 a day on his first campaign. So, this is typical, success is become kind of a typical thing for you guys with your program and what you're teaching people.
Yeah, that makes us really excited. We're really passionate about kind of helping people's dreams come true and kind of reaching that financial freedom to do whatever they want. You guys kind of brought Michael and I into it, into this whole arena, and it really opened up endless possibilities for our life. We can go surfing every day. We just bought a 4,000 square foot office where we're going to have a basketball court. It's getting built out inside right now. And we're going to have a foam pit, trampoline, and kind of gives us the freedom to create a really fun work environment and travel, as much as we care to do. And we really want to provide people with that same dream, and they can use the money for anything that they want.
So here's a picture of Casey and a friend of his surfing. You guys have board meetings. Tell everybody about your board meetings.
Yeah, so it's kind of a joke down here in San Diego, but doesn't seem like people work too hard down here. You'll see on Tuesday at 10 a.m. that there's 100 people in the water surfing, and so we call our board meetings. It's just a term we use for going surfing and meeting in the ocean on our surfboards.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. That was one of my favorite things you guys said, told us about your board meetings. Because I think that's what everybody wants. And one of the questions, I'll kick off the Q&A here. How much time does this take? I mean, if somebody wants to do this, how much time realistically are they going to plan to invest to get results?
Realistically, 4 weeks would be a good goal. We've had students
per day. What do I have to spend per day grinding it out?
What do you have to spend per day?
Like how much time a day am I going to spend doing this model?
Once you have it kind of cranking, or at the beginning?
Yeah, cranking. Let's say both, beginning and cranking. What do I have to spend?
So to get it working, you probably have to do maybe 20 hours a day for 2 weeks, and then
20 hours a day?
20 hours a week. Yeah, 20 hours a week for a couple weeks to get everything set up and find a couple winning campaigns. And then after you find some winning campaigns, that is winning slideshows that you can send traffic to, you could work as little as three hours a week and make $1,000 a day. We work a little more than that because we want to get to the 50 grand a day mark where we're profiting over $1 million a month, and we think we can do that in about 3 months. We should be able to get there.
Awesome. So 20 hours a week starting out, 3 hours a week once you get going. So if it's okay with Harlan, I want to open it up. We got a lot of people on here, so I want people to ask their questions to Casey and Michael and any of us that are here on the panel and find out what their questions are. And then Casey and Michael and everybody can answer them and kind of start getting in that discussion a little bit on what you can expect. And then after the Q&A, I'll give you the opportunity to apply to work with us. So we're going to save those kind of questions for after the Q&A. But if you have questions on the model specifically and some different things that these guys do, let's ask those right now. So Kyle, you want to read them off one by one, and we can.
I'm only a panelist too. You've got to read them. You're an organizer now.
Oh, really? Am I a big shot?
Yeah, you are. Big shot one. That's you.
Hold on. Glenna, would you read off the questions to them?
Oh, awesome. Harlan's big time. He's got a question reader.
Yeah.
Okay. How much ad spend a day in the beginning?
So we recommend you test every campaign at about $50 a day. So we recommend doing 3 days of testing. So I guess that'd be.
And I will say,
Go ahead.
yeah, to speak to that, they show you to spend $50 a day, and then normally by day 3-ish is kind of when the students start profiting that money. At least it's been the current result so far. So you're spending the first 2 days to kind of just get some click details, and then the next, after day 3, you're making profit there and out. But it was just on the $50 spent, I think is right. Right, Case? Is that what you said?
Yeah, exactly. So $50K a day, or sorry, $50 a day. Yeah, don't spend $50K off the bat. $50 a day for 2 days, and then you should be making money by the 3rd day after optimizing and editing your bids a little bit. And then after that, it's pretty common to be profiting, you know, $100 or $200 a day off that one campaign we've seen campaigns last about 6 months.
Yeah.
3 is very common. 6 months would be a really good one.
And again, that it's 3 days, you know, typically to profit, but that doesn't mean you're losing $50 every day for the first, you know, 1, 2, or 3, because you're still recouping most of that with you know, advertising anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think in fact the first student who actually went through it and started making money, I think the first day he spent 50 and made like $34 or something back. So he lost $16 that day.
Yeah.
On day 1, and then he like broke even day 2.
Yeah, that's pretty common.
Okay, and then there's a couple people that ask questions that are basically saying that they already have some sites with content. Can they use them to sort of work with this?
Totally. Yeah, it's just a matter of really the layout of their site, and if they're able to either if they have the technical expertise to accomplish the layout that we described, or you know, if they're willing to pay someone to do it, or if their site already is capable of doing that. Yes.
Okay, and how does this product fit in with the super site formula? So I'm not sure if Harlan can sort of touch on that, or if you guys kind of know how it would go together.
So basically, the super site formula is about building a gigantic site like the Dogging to Post and making money off advertising and so forth. It's a lot of work. This is a much simpler formula. Frankly, I'm pissed at John, Kyle, and Casey that they didn't come out with this 3 years ago. Would have spared me a boatload of aggravation, and I probably would have made a shitload of money more than I've made. Quite frankly, you know, every time I have the opportunity to walk past a mirror, I watch myself kick myself in the butt.
That's a good visual. Thanks, Harlan.
Anytime.
Okay, besides the initial cost for the course, are there any additional costs to get into the networks?
No, we give you the recommended networks, and they're free to get on, so you can be up and running in a couple days. No additional cost after the course.
Okay, and can people do this from outside of the United States?
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah, we even test traffic outside of the U.S., so we have campaigns that work in UK, Australia, and Canada. So yeah, it can work in any country. And the beauty of that is you can really scale to an international website once you get big enough, which opens up even more traffic and profit to your site.
Okay, and is it hard to get an AdSense account these days?
No, we actually talk about that in the training as well, and give you the best method and strategy to get that account, and it's pretty simple.
In fact, and I don't think we have had one person go through the training yet that hasn't been able to get. And did you say AdSense account? Is that what that was referring to?
Yes.
Yeah. So Casey or Michael, I don't think anybody that has gone through the process hasn't been able to get an AdSense account. They make it pretty clear, guys. They kind of go through what you're going to need before you submit an application to Google AdSense, and then you just do everything they say and submit, and so far it's been 100% success rate. So.
Yeah, and anyone who's been in this space and knows anything about AdSense and their advertising guidelines and all that stuff, we treat that kind of as like our Bible. So we don't do anything that in any way would be considered black hat or not, approved by AdSense. Like, we're not trying to get by or around guidelines that are set. We're following all the rules. That's that's a big thing for us, is playing by all the rules.
Okay, and then there's a couple different people that are asking basically, when do you get paid for the ads?
Yeah, so two of the networks, the two main ones, AdSense, and another one will pay you 21 days after the end of the month. So money you spend throughout the month of December, you'll get paid January 21st. So you do have to float some of that spend on your credit card, or if you have plenty of cash in the bank, you're fine. But that is a factor in scaling up. But I mean, that's a good problem to have, because if you're scaling up, that means you're making money, and you just have to float the spend on your credit card for a month.
Yeah, in fact, I think the conversation Casey had with me today is, I need like $2 million. You know anybody who will float us $2 million? So if you're making money, one, there will be people out there that will fund you, and two, with the lower spend and just collecting the profit, you'll be able to make money and float that too. So.
Yeah, so if anyone on this webinar has a couple million, we'll be happy to make them some money with it.
Okay, and then how often do you run new campaigns?
We're setting up a new campaign probably once a week, but that's just because we're also scaling up. So we could stop doing one a week and then, make money for the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, let me ask a question that may have been better phrased if they knew what they were asking, or let me try and interpret what they were asking. So if you have a slideshow that's working and you're running one campaign and you're running, you can't afford $2 million about a month, how long does what is, I think you said 3 to 6 months is what a slideshow will last you. So you could literally run one slideshow without making any other new ones for 3 to 6 months.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, so you could, if you were limited by funding, like I said, these guys are trying to figure out how to spend $2 million a month. If that's not your concern, if you're interested in making 10, 20K a month, you can run one slideshow, and once you get one that's working, just set it on cruise control for 3 to 6 months and go spend the summer in Mexico if you want it. So I think that was a question. If that was not what the question you were asking is, if you could re-ask that might help. But yeah, they'll last you a while.
Okay, and can you make the slideshow yourself, or should you pay to have someone else do it?
Yeah, you can absolutely make the slideshow yourself. We started off making the slideshows ourselves. We still kind of make tweaks to the slideshows once our content writer creates them, but yeah, we probably recommend making them yourself off the bat, and they are very easy to make, and we go through that in the training.
Now, that being said, Casey, oh, sorry about that, Glenna. Let me just expand on that for a second. Casey, you didn't mention how much you pay article writers, but I think in the course, some students have found people anywhere from $10 to $40 to do these content pieces. So, you're not spending a ton of money to have somebody else do it for you.
Right.
Okay, and can this work without paid advertising eventually?
Yeah, short answer is yes, but the long answer is I wouldn't really recommend going that route. The main reason being is...
Hold on. Let me jump in.
Sure.
This is an example of somebody coming in and changing the formula before they even know it. It's not going to work. I'm just going to be blunt. If you can't follow a proven formula, this isn't for you. Very simply, if you want this to succeed, you will do what John, Kyle, and Casey say. If you want to say, well, I'm not going to do this part, it's like someone making a recipe, not putting in all of the ingredients, and then wondering why it came out tasting like crap. Okay? It's not going to work. You have to follow all of the steps. If you're not prepared to do that, this clearly is not for you. If you want to do it without spending $50 a day and you want to spend $20 a day, it'll work. It'll get you there. But you say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do SEO. I'm a master SEO person. By 2018, I should have enough traffic going to my site.